sorry. Trying a few things, trying to let people come on here a little bit before I start into the meat of what I'm talking about. But I wanted to say hello, I am Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace. And something that some people always ask me on these videos, so I'm going to start off. I am not a therapist. I do energy psychology sessions, and these sessions are geared towards clearing patterns, clearing energy, aspects of people that they really know about, but they don't really understand. And so my role is to help people become more aligned to the truth of who they are, in alignment with their soul, in alignment with their purpose. And that will mean clearing old patterns that are incongruent. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that was based off of yesterday's live, where people said that they always feel drained. And I thought, wouldn't it be helpful for people to understand that they are sovereign? We are sovereign beings. And when you claim your sovereignty, that is the beginning of you being able to call back what is your divine right. So we all have energy, right? So when you get sick, when you go to the hospital, you have heart problems, they're going to put on an EKG. Hey, Eric, thanks for being here. They're going to put on an EKG. The EKG is to measure your electromagnetic pulsing, right? Well, we're always pulsing energy. And we have, hi, Oliver, thanks for being here. And we have a couple things that I wanted to talk about. First, we have life force, right? But if that life force is being siphoned or is being taken away from you without your conscious awareness, which happens all the time. It can happen from beings, it can happen from situations, it can happen from events, it can happen from other people who will literally try to suck the life out of you. Now, why they do this is none of your business. What is your business is not allowing it. And that means that you must call back all your own energy. That is called return to rightful owner. You came into this existence with technologies and tools, and one of those technologies and tools is called your higher self. Your higher self is that aspect of you that knows past, present, and future timelines, as you call it. So when you are working with your higher self and you call back your energy as the rightful owner, it will come back to you. It can no longer be siphoned because you are the rightful owner. So that means that even if in the past there's a situation that really bothered you, you can call back your energy from that particular situation when you're working in relationship to your higher self. And the conversation would go something like this. In conjunction with your higher self, you call forth, I'm calling forth my higher self to call back all my energy that has been taken away, stolen, or siphoned without my consent. And I ask my higher self to bring that back to me as the rightful owner. And so what will happen is it will be pulled away from where it was redirected to, and energy gets directed. And if you're not directing it, something or somewhere else will. That's why fear is such a powerful tool, because it redirects your energy so it can be siphoned. Because when people are in fear, they become easy to manipulate because they do not know how they're being siphoned. Now, you don't have to let that be you because you're watching this video. There's 2 of you here, maybe 3, 2 people, 2 of you, but maybe there'll be other people later on that watch this video that will be under the awareness that, you know what, I'm so drained and so tired or more exhausted than I should be. I need to call back my energy. And you just do that how I just described, which is you call in your higher self to work with you to bring back all your energy as the rightful owner. And then you claiming your energy as the rightful owner will bring it back. And you will notice that you will start to have more and more energy. Now, some people might need to do this for a couple days, and some people, it might just take a few minutes. It just depends on how open and vulnerable your field has been to these other energies that you did not know that you had gone into consent or alignment with. So that's one thing. The other thing that you can do is begin to, as you may or may not know, is that your soul is a part of what's called a soul matrix. When we come into this incarnation, this thing called life, what happens is we have traumas or situations that have happened over time where our soul gets traumatized, hurt, or felt betrayed or whatever, and it needs to be called back as well. So maybe it gets, for a lot of the people, there's a lot of childhood abuse and sexual assaults that people have contended with. And this is really important for people that have those types of situations. But it's not just about those types of situations. It's because we are multidimensional and our soul is a multidimensional matrix. So what you want to do is call back all your soul fragments, and you will feel when all your soul fragments are back in, you will feel different. Don't believe me, try it for yourself. Call back all your soul fragments. And it might take a couple weeks every single day calling back your soul fragments. But once your soul fragments are all back within you as the rightful owner, you will be feeling more aligned and less insecure, let's say, because there's going to be like this coming together where your soul is just going to be home. I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels more assured when all your soul fragments are in. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for being here. So that's two things that you could do on a regular basis. And the energy gets siphoned because people have allowed themselves to give up their power. So a good example of how power gets siphoned from people is, for example, like people might use the language like, you hurt my feelings, or she hurt my feelings. Well, you're in charge of your feelings. So you allowed them to hurt your feelings. They didn't come out and say, I'm going to hurt your feelings. You allowed them. That's an authorization to hurt your feelings. Your feelings are yours. And nobody else is in charge of feeling your feelings but you. So if your feelings are hurt, it's not to blame somebody else for causing them to be hurt. It's for you to understand that as we take full empowerment of our feelings and we acknowledge the truth of those feelings, then we will begin to heal ourselves. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're here. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself. And I came on later today than I normally do, but it is what it is. So I wanted to say that when you take responsibility for your energy, for your feelings, for the state of existence that you're in. Hi, Rosa. Good for you. Good to see you here. It's been a while. When you fully take responsibility and call back all your energy and you start to feel more filled up, then you will feel more assured, more mental clarity, more alignment. I wanted to say this other thing that I think this is different for everybody. Where it is at in your body is going to be different than for everybody. But we all have life force. But we all have like what's it called? What I understand it to see is like a life force portal where all of our energy comes in. And when we are filled up with our own life force, we heal ourselves. There's an energy that will circulate in you and around you and in your field. So what I would suggest is find where that life force portal is for you. And like I said, it will be in a different place for everybody. And find that and see it when you breathe into it, what happens? It'll expand and it'll be at full force. So you want your life force aspect to be at full capacity. Like you want life force to be flowing at full capacity, because when it's not flowing at full capacity, you'll also be tired. But it might be tired, or you might be tired because it's being siphoned, because your life force is a valuable asset. And it's so valuable that people don't even know how to access it. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? That you didn't even know that your energy could be taken from you without your consent. So that's why you need to cancel contracts, alignments. So let me talk about how energy can sometimes get siphoned. It can get siphoned through attachments, through AI, through the mind. It can get siphoned through binding, through bonds, through events, through trauma. It could be siphoned. I mean, that's just going off a list. But you can go, I mean, there's so many ways energy can be siphoned. In fact, I think in my video on the higher self, I even talk about I think how the higher self, and I give a list of all the different ways the higher self can be taken over. So many people don't even have a relationship with their higher self, so they don't even have access to the technology. They think their intuition is powerful. When you start working with your multidimensional aspects, your divine rights, those aspects of you that are like, those aspects of you that were always for you to understand and learn from, and you didn't even know they existed. I mean, that's the world we're living in today. People do not understand their true power. So in order to really feel your power, you got to call back your energy. You got to call back all your soul fragments, and you got to understand the return to rightful owner command and use it, because that's for you. You don't want to take somebody else's energy on either. Like, don't, somebody asked me yesterday about, Kiana, do you take on the burdens of people that you work with? No, because I am practiced in presence. When I do all my sessions, I'm in pure presence. That's how we heal, is in presence. But do I have compassion for people and their situations? Yes, but I also see the potentials that those situations can be, how they can be leveraged. So I see potentials differently than maybe some other people. Yeah, so call back to rightful owner. Okay, Rosa, what are you saying here? Let me see. It's good to see you. Can we have an example of a life force portal? Well, you have it, Rosa. So I don't want to tell you where it is within you unless we're in a session, because you should know where that is. So what you will notice is when you get present to your own body, there will be an access point. There's many access points in your body, first of all. But when you sense your body, you will feel there's a frequency and or a vibration that will be, for lack of a better term, God-like. That's different than what I call a still point, or which is like the 0 point frequency. We all have access to that. and it's different than your nervous system. So there's two different access points there, but you also have this space for your life force where it comes through and it floods into your body. Rosa, I don't want to tell you exactly where it is for you, because if I say this in a video for you, first of all, that would mean I need to tap into your field, and I would not do that without your authorization. And the reason why I don't do that is because I don't know really what's in your field. And maybe you have other hanger-ons or dark attachments or things in your field. Like, I can sense those before I even have a session. So that allows me to know what I need to prepare for. Because sometimes a client will come and they just want to have more energy, or they want to get a better job, make more money. And they have not addressed the thing that is blocking them from having a better job, making more money. I'll give you a short story. It's a very short story of an executive that I worked with, and I was helping him prepare for a promotion. Now, I had helped him prepare for all of his promotions. And then he did one that he was like, he didn't need my help. He asked his wife to help him. The guy didn't make it past the first step, and there was like a 6 or 7 step process because she didn't want him to get the job. Now, did she want this consciously? I don't know. I wasn't tapped into her field. But once I saw what had happened, I said, you can't ask your wife to help you find a promotion. She doesn't want you to have a promotion. She doesn't want you to be successful. She wants you to stay as you are because that keeps her comfortable. The next job came back up. We did it together. We prepared him. He got all the way through the final phase and actually got 2 job offers at the same time from 2 different factions. Now, was that his wife's fault? No, it was his fault, because when he opened that portal, he allowed the energy of somebody who likes to suck the life force out of people to take that from him. His energy, even in your resume, even in your emails, has a frequency. People don't really understand it, but they can feel it. So, for example, even when I used to teach resume writing, which, by the way, I have a whole program free online here for those of you who want to, and it's a good program, even if you're not looking for a job, just to get to know yourself, because it's called Careers in the New Paradigm. Because when you lay out your resume, it gets, 15, 20 seconds time frame. But the frequency of your resume, people feel, and they will like it and score it higher than what the content is, just because of the feel of the resume. So I've seen that happen time and time again with resumes. This is why it's so important that you really like your resume, because if you don't like your resume, that energy is what you're sending off every time you submit. So there's that. So going back to your question about the portal, your life force portal, Rosa, is going to be unique to you, just like Eric and Oliver, who have been on here, have their own unique spot. You got to find that spot, and when you feel it, you will know it's intuitively. So ask your higher self to help you find your life force portal. And then you want to work with your higher self to expand the energy from your life force. And what will happen is you'll just start to be wrapped and healed in your field with that frequency, because it's unique, right? It's unique to you, and you want to be able to heal with your own energy. That energy is of God. I mean, you're not separate from God if you're a part of oneness, right? Which I believe we all are part of oneness, whether we understand that or not. So I don't need you to agree with me, but so calling back your energy if you feel drained. So one of the things that I notice is when I go out to dinner, or I go out to just out, I pick up on the energies of people around me. Now, that is not something that I think is always an easy thing. So I have, when I get home, I have ways in which I take care of my physical, mental, and emotional body. Almost routinely, I will do certain things. Like when I travel, first thing I do is shower. It doesn't matter where I'm at, what country, what place. As soon as I get to a place, I take a shower. There's so much yucky energy in the airports and in the airplane. You get exposed to things that you don't really understand, so it's good to have good hygiene. And that's really what calling back your energy is really. When you command your energy to come back to you as the rightful owner, you are really taking self responsibility, self ownership, and you are taking back what is rightly yours. So I hope that was helpful, Rosa. Kind of a long winded explanation. I also make it a habit, I don't send people energy prayers unless somebody asks or something like that. What about feeling uneasy around a certain person or whatever? Do we feel it? Well, you always listen. So you always listen, because the interpretation is where people, I think, kind of lose their minds. Because let's just say, oh, okay, I'm feeling uneasy around this person. Does this mean something? What a meaning am I going to ascribe to this feeling that's happening within me? And so the first thing I would say is your fight or flight turned on or off? So you need to know that. And if it's on, then you forget it. You're already in distortion, okay? If your fight or flight is on, you're already in distortion. If you are on any kind of anti anxiety medicine, that is going to change how you are perceiving things. Anti anxiety, depression stuff, because all of those medicines, they essentially mess with how your brain waves are firing. So there's that, and that's kind of a tangent. But so you want to look at what is it that you need to learn. So do you? And the other question that Rosa you're asking is, what do we do? Do we feel it? Well, you always want to feel your body, because your body is a tool of awareness. And when you are feeling your body, you will be able to process energies around you for the whole space. Like when I go into a space, I'm processing the entire space. Even if I'm also clearing and cleaning it, because I don't want to walk into a dirty space. But if somebody makes me feel uneasy, let me think. Well, first of all, nobody can make me feel a particular way. So if I am feeling something, I take full responsibility for feeling it. That's number one. Number two, I would try to discern, what is it that is uneasy? Why am I uneasy? Is there something being pulsed into this? So electromagnetic. Is there something about the frequency of the space that's incompatible with my frequency, which I consider to be a high vibration? I know it is a high frequency, so that's not going to be compatible with lower frequencies. So that would not feel so comfortable all the time. A lot of places have what's called density, which happens to be my forte, which is clearing that heavy, weighed, overwhelmed feeling. That's what's one of my fortes I learned early on, is to clear that from people. Because when you have a dense energy, you will get things that attach to it, and they will get stuck in your energy, that type of thing. So you feel it, and then you assess, and then you determine what your conscious choice is going to be from that feeling. Maybe it's not about a person, maybe it's about a space. Maybe it's not about the space, it's about what's in the space. Maybe it's about the owner. So I think I've told this story before, but there was this health food place that I used to order from. And I used to eat the food all the time. And all of a sudden, the same thing I was ordering didn't taste so good. And I thought, well, that's strange. So I called them up and I said, hey, did you guys do something different at your location, at your commissary? Because the food, it looks the same, it's got the same ingredients, but the quality just doesn't feel the same. The frequency was different. And when I felt into they told me they moved buildings. So they had moved their location to another, and the space that they had moved to was not clean. And that was impacting the quality of the food. So I stopped ordering from them because I offered them my services, of course. But the space needed to be clean. So that's kind of a long story. Sorry about that. Does that help you, Rosa? It's just a small group of us on here today. That's kind of nice. I could read these questions without these ridiculous comments coming through. I actually like this. Rosa, is that helpful? I would also say, if we have vulnerabilities in our field, oh, good. That's good. If we have vulnerabilities in our field, that will change how we perceive. So the first thing you want to do, when I start working with clients on a regular basis, the first thing I always want to do with them to make them stronger and more clear is clear all their vulnerabilities. And I'm very systematic because I don't like working with people who are vague. Just me. So I'm very systematic. I start with emotional, mental, depending on where the client is. Then I clear all the vulnerabilities spiritually. Then I clear all the vulnerabilities because anything that's happening spiritually is going to impact you physically. So if you have an ailment, let's just say you have migraines on a regular basis, or you get headaches, or what else? What's another ailment that people have on a regular? Oh, problems going to the bathroom. All of those situations will always start in the non-physical before it becomes physical. So if you are addressing vulnerabilities in the mental, emotional, and spiritual realm, your physical body will become stronger. And when I say stronger, I don't mean muscular. I mean strengthened from within so you can connect deeply with yourself. Do we have to lower our frequency to be able to live with a person with a low frequency? If we don't have a choice. Okay. First of all, I wouldn't lower my frequency for anybody. Nobody. So there are things that happen in our environment that can lower your frequency, but you don't ever lower your frequency for somebody else. I will never not be my most authentic self so somebody else feels more comfortable. Never. And if I see somebody is misbehaving, even if it's a child that's not mine, I will address it. I will address it with very clear, very direct, but I do not sit in lower frequencies. If people are gossiping, that's not something I really enjoy. So I don't contribute. I don't shut them down. I just excuse myself. Not everybody's going to be operating at a high frequency. But I would say this is that there's a lot of judgments about people who are at a low frequency. And let's just put frequency in its right perspective. A frequency is simply a wave of energy, okay? There's no judgment of the wave. Dimensions are just different perceptions. of a particular area or situation. So you have different accesses when you go from one dimension to another dimension. And there's no judgment, it's just a different quality. So when you have a low frequency, let's just say, that's just meaning that it's not vibrating at a high speed. That's all that means. So why would you judge a low frequency over a high frequency when they all have their place? They're all needed. So I think what you're saying is that somebody might have, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get hot. The sun is coming in. I'm going to scoot back. And I hope you guys are enjoying this. So I would suggest not to judge the frequency and just understand that that's a density. And the density is what feels heavy and feels sluggish, if you will. So if you have the understanding that you're around somebody in that environment, the first thing I would do is, number one, figure out a way to have your own space in that space where you know the frequency is clean and clear, number one. The other thing I would say is that if you don't already know how to create the armor of God strongly with you, then I would say do that. And I'm not going to go into detail about how to do that because I think everybody could do it differently, but you must have a relationship with God, period. Okay? Oh, good. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you. Because sometimes I feel like I'm just babbling. Okay. The other thing that I would say is, Rosa, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'd say because you have the awareness, it's fortunately, but unfortunately, it doesn't really feel good to have a lot of density. So then I would do this. What and why are you in agreement with this density? Because there's a part of you that resonates with that density, that resonates with that frequency. And if you have a preference to raise your frequency and to be in a higher state with other people, not that person, then you would need to address what is it that you need to, one, be aware of that you're in agreement with about this lower energy. Is it comfortable for you to be around it? Is it so uncomfortable that it keeps you playing small, and that's why you're around it? The other thing is once you start to have awarenesses around this agreement that you have with these other people, then you want to take the learning and integrate it. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is you want to consciously go into agreement with what you want to create. So sometimes when you're in a very dense environment, so I worked with the military. I don't think it gets much more dense than that. I worked with the military for almost 15 years as a consultant. The energy there is so dense. And these are very highly intelligent people, but their energy is heavy and they carry lots of burdens. And so what I would suggest is that you be conscious of taking back your energy and meet them with love and compassion, because oftentimes when people are carrying that kind of heaviness, they do not even know that there's a different way to live. They do not know that there's a different way to be, because that's what they have become accustomed to. And that becomes more comfortable than going outside their comfort zone. So Rosa, just by the way that you phrased the question, you're saying you don't have a real choice. We always have conscious choice. We always have conscious choice. Now, I don't know if you're living with your parents or there's a financial situation, but there's always choices. We may not like the choices, but there's always choices. So what I would ask you is to be playful with the potentials. And if you took all the constraints off your mind and you could just list out all the potentials, and then maybe you go to a friend and you say, what other potentials have I missed about different possibilities? And so what you're doing now is you're becoming a creator of potentials. And so that's a fun way to start to create a frequency, which, by the way, when you're in creation, you are accessing creator energy. And then you will have more energy because you're no longer bound by that density of that lower frequency. I hope that makes sense. That was actually a really interesting and deep question. Well, if you guys have more questions, I'll stay on. Otherwise, I could jump off. I don't want to. I want to stick to this this topic of clearing your energy field. I clear my energy field. I clear all. Mine is very clear. If something that's foreign comes into my energy, that, and by foreign I mean I did not invite it in, it is removed. So most people don't have a familiarity with their field, so they don't know something is in their field until it's like become a part of who they are. So good, Rosa. I'm so glad that that was helpful for you. Do you guys have any other questions? Otherwise, I really say I have enjoyed this conversation with you guys. Your support and your encouragement and being here and really wanting to align within, I think it's admirable, and I applaud your efforts because it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's always worth it. Always worth it. Any questions? Okay, Rosa. Thank you. Thank you. All right, you two. Well, thanks you for being here. I hope you have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow for more Being in Sync 366. I am Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. If you have a topic that you are interested in me addressing from the perspective of alignment, and specifically in alignment with the natural laws, because that's what this whole video series is really about. It's about how to become aligned with the natural laws, not the laws that we've been had shoved down our throats, the laws of humanity. There are other governing laws that nobody talks about. So these videos are intended to help people align back to those natural laws. So I appreciate you all being here and participating, and your very good questions, very insightful. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye. Thank you.